Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's Lionel, and I'm your host for LT Productions, and you are watching I Watch You Watch. We are covering Basketball Wives Orlando, Season 1, Episode 5. There was some stuff that happened, not a lot of action, but I guess we learned a lot about the women, or for some of the women. Um, it was okay, but I do have some questions towards the end of this video. But thank you for coming to my channel. Please subscribe to this channel, share this video, and also share your comments on the show, and also even my commentary if you choose. Welcome back if you are already subscribed. All right, so of course we get some new interludes. Thank God it's not a to be continued type of situation. We see Danielle with her children. We see Megan handling some business with two guys. I don't know if it was for the podcast, but they were going over numbers and things of that nature. Dre shows up and gives her flowers. Then we see Lindsay calling Morgan and asking if she would come to her prenatal appointment that she does have. And Morgan's like, yay, I get to be stepdaddy. She's going to go and visit her and be with her. All right, so the first scene, Megan and Danielle, they do meet up. And not immediately, but almost immediately, we hear concerning Mackenzie. Danielle brings her up. I forgot what her name was. Any Manho? Something like that. I forgot what it was. So Megan's like, are you open for a conversation? You should really have a conversation with Mackenzie so y'all can find out what's really going on. Danielle says that Mackenzie had been stalking and harassing her. Danielle was playing around. I don't know if I could be civilized or not, but she says that there are some things that I do need to get to the bottom of, and let's see if we can really have a conversation. She says to this day, Richard loves her, and she loves him. So it's a sticky situation. From how Danielle is painting it, is that they got out of a relationship, which was earlier in the year. We found out a little bit later in March is when she took off the ring. So it is fresh to her. And it's looking to us like, oh my God, Danielle, what's going on with you? You know? So I do understand the frustration of Danielle, but there's a lot of manipulation that's going on. Danielle reveals that her and Rashad still have sex. She says we do, and will. I said, what? I get that there's love between you all, Danielle, but it's like, you know that he's with somebody else, and now he's reduced you to a F buddy or a baby mama that he casually just had sex with. I think how Danielle has it in her mind, because this has been the relationship that she has been cultivating for all this time, that she has some ownership to it. But Rashard don't belong to you. I'm sorry. I can't. And that's how you're bringing it to me. And I'm sure that he's manipulating you also. However, I think that there's some responsibility on your part. Like, it's time to start, and I know it's hard. It's time to start falling out of love with this dude and his D. Because it's like, it's not productive. And people are getting caught in the crossfire between this long relationship that's really no more. And Danielle went on and said, I don't want her to think that she's going to bully me out of my relationship that I've had for over 8 years or 10 years, whatever she said. It's like, I think it's just best for Danielle to just step out of the situation. It's not going to be fruitful. And I just want you to move forward. All right, so we move on to Lindsay and Devin. How this scene was set up. Ooh. So Devin is overseas. I think she shows him the ultrasound. They're doing a FaceTime and all this good stuff. He has this big spine, or the baby has a big spine. So basically, this baby gonna be big, and definitely has the attributes of his father, or her father. My bad. And Lindsay's like, well, I'm just waiting for you to get here. And Lindsay says that you really got to know Devin to love him, because it looks like how he is and what his responses are can make the outsider think, oh, he's a jackass, you know? And I was getting that feel, because she's like, well, I really want you here for the birth. And have you talking to your agent? I guess there's some type of sign way that he has to do. And this will be the way for him to come overseas during the birth. And he says, I'm not even there yet. I'm not even thinking about that. I said, really? I don't know how many months she has left, but I mean, the birth of your baby is not, it's not a priority to you. Do you have other children, Devin? That's what I would like to know. Maybe this is like, okay, this is another birth. That could be what's going on. I don't know, but it's like you see this woman who's never been pregnant before. You're overseas. She's vulnerable, and she's just saying what I really need. And I don't see if that should be such a bad request. I don't know the things on the basketball end, so I can't just say, hey, get up and go, Devin, but I would try to move heaven and earth if it's the birth of my child coming. Oh, he said I'm not in a rush. Dude, but you was in a rush to nut. That got her knocked up. I rhymed there, didn't I? All right, so we move on to a scene with Milan. She's talking with her, or she's going to go pick up her sisters, Jada and Gwendolyn. I don't know which one is which. I think Gwen is one of them is 17 and another one is 13. So that just puts another spin. These little girls got a rental car, stole a rental car, and then trashed it in Miami. Wow. But it's a lot on them because there's a lot of trauma that's happened. Everything has not been the same since their brother got murdered. And Milan does say that he got murdered during an attempted robbery. So the mother is just not there as far as mentally. And now they're acting out at this point. She picks them up, and you see that some of the clothing that they have is not age appropriate. And she does, and I'll just skip down to the next scene with them. Basically, she wants to show them a little structure, give them new scenery, let them know, I guess, from where they're at, that there's more to what they can become in their lives instead of thinking that they got to become their environment. So I like the little setup that they do have. Hopefully the sisters don't try to play that with Milan, because that's just crazy that she's giving you a free room and board. And one thing I guess Milan is really harping on the oldest one, like, look, even though you are older, don't think that it's cool to do what you're doing. Don't leave the impression upon the 13-year-old that it's cool to do what you're doing. Milan does say concerning how she acted out too. She thought she was grown, but she said despite being rebellious, education was still first, and having a job was still first. So we'll see what happens. So my prayers and thoughts are with you guys. Okay, so Ashley visits Nikki. Apparently Nikki is a part of another reality show that people are talking about. I forgot what show it was, but people can't stand you from over there too, Nikki. So sorry. I don't know you. I just don't like the way that you were messy, and then how you're trying to blame everybody else for stuff. That's my only issue with it. And then you want to cry victim when somebody hits back when you hit them first. Sorry. But anyways, Ashley and Nikki, I guess they catch up. Ashley tells Nikki that they were overseas. I forgot what city they were in. Dang. Belgium, was it? It started with a B. But anyways, they were Tony was invited over to be a part of the Special Olympics, and they did that. And they began to talk about Nikki. Ashley was wanting Nikki to be involved in making a wig for charity for this cancer foundation that Ashley's a part of. She lost her mother, Ashley did, and Nikki does also share that she lost her sister in April to cancer. Nikki does open up that how she's been coping is eating, and she's just really self-conscious about her body at this point. That's Ashley said, you got to be gentle with yourself. I'm going to say this. Thus far, Ashley has been presented, and or the producers have allowed her to get the good edit. And now it's looking like Morgan is the one that's acting out a lot. Because everything you see that she's supportive of women, she's supportive of her family, she's doing all these good deeds. And I'm not going to knock on that, because I think that is the truth about Ashley. I think that I've had kind of this disdain, because it's like, ooh, Ashley, now what was you doing in this woman's marriage? I still think that what Morgan is saying is true, but she has still a likability. But it's like, you don't really want to be too trusting because of how it seems like Ashley can move in the basketball world. So Nikki's fitting her for a wig and things of that nature, and that's the end of that scene. All right, so Danielle and Mackenzie. I'm gonna say this much. There's some things I liked and didn't like. Overall, I think I approved of Mackenzie's energy. The way she used it was, ooh, I don't know if I would go that route. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, so they sit down, and this is where Danielle says in her confessional that, hey, I took my ring off in March, and I know that they were getting together in February. So something's not right. However, Danielle says, what really messed up their relationship is that Rashard wanted to be in a non-monogamous relationship. Okay, well, I mean, he is a basketball player, and Danielle wasn't really down for it. So she wanted to make sure that Mackenzie knows that there are other women, and you're not the one that was the straw that broke the camel's back, basically. Mackenzie says that she knew nothing about Danielle. They had been friends on social media. She knew that he had children, but didn't know anything about Danielle. So Danielle says, well, everyone knows about me, agents and all that good stuff, blah, 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 blah. So there's no way that you could not know of me. Possibly. I don't know how. Look, Rashard could be very, very, how can I say this? Sneaky at how he actually moves, Danielle, and maybe that there was a life that he was hiding from you. I mean, for him to come into this whole non-monogamous after being in an 8-year relationship, and of course, Danielle says that Rashard has been out there before, I guess, whatever. And she has to check other women too. Mackenzie ends up admitting that she did check out because Danielle was like, well, you've been on my page. I think she said, you've been going on my page and all that. I only went on your page to check to see if Rashard was really messing around with you. But you don't know her, as Danielle did say. You playing around, Mackenzie, and even if you didn't know if they were together, you did question it and you did think that things were suspect. And for whatever reason, I guess you went along with, you were settled that he's my man and not with Danielle. And then she said concerning, I only knew about you when you came down to Orlando for the show. I knew that you were friends with Morgan and you came down for the show. That's the first time I knew about you. And that's when also Mackenzie wanted to keep the relationship private. So, Rashard's a big liar, and Mackenzie's not being truthful with other people and for herself. I don't know about this, but Mackenzie's like, look, I'm gonna tell Rashard all of this, da 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 da. Why would you try to use that as some type of weapon, Mackenzie? Like, what is that gonna do? At some point, it started getting heated because Danielle asked Mackenzie, have you been around my children? And then Mackenzie gives this smirk. I said, oh, Mackenzie came to play after a while. So, no, she doesn't have to be provoked. Mackenzie is this passive-aggressive type person. We just haven't seen it on the scene. She's just been sitting there quiet. Again, I didn't care that Mackenzie was giving back energy to Danielle, but it's like, ooh, I don't think I would touch on the children. I'm sorry. And as Danielle reiterated again, me and you are the same in this whole situation. And I wish you had more compassion about it. Mackenzie says that I do have compassion about it, but you won't let me say my side. The things you are saying are conflicting to what I think Danielle ended up finding out about you and Rashard. So it's like, I just don't think that Mackenzie wants to be called out. I think she walked into a situation. She probably did think that Rashard was single, then found out that Danielle was really a part of his life. But I don't know what the behind the scenes off camera exchange has been as to why Mackenzie's just like, so hush. I'm private. I do think that Mackenzie, you are suspect. And as Danielle says later on, stories aren't lining up. I do believe that. Basically, there's an exchange, Mackenzie ends up getting up. They're saying different insulting things towards each other. It's crazy. I'm sorry, it does look crazy that your antennas are not up, though, Mackenzie. It does. It's just like, for my man, I will be blind to everything. Anyways, all right, so we move on to Devin and Lindsay. Devin does make it to Orlando, I guess, after that unsettling phone call that Lindsay did give. She still says that she wants him back for the birth. He seems a little bit different from off the phone than in person. Like, I was a little bit okay for him. Okay as far as his energy. So I was like, okay. But it still seems like he's still a jackass to me. She says, I know that we'll be fine. I don't mind that you're overseas, because your family, my family will be around, da 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 da. And she just really wants him back for the birth. He still doesn't know what's going to happen. All right, so Megan's mom and her mother. Her mother is a trip. Her mother is a trip. Her mother is a trip. That's all I'm going to say. One, Megan had to keep contacting her mom in order to meet up with her, meaning it took some convincing to get her to meet. So Megan's doing this based upon what her boyfriend is asking her to do. You're extending yourself and overextending yourself to try to make this connection happen. For me, because of how I'm built, and this is not from a prideful place, because I do deal with rejection, I just don't think that I would have been able to keep continuing to try to build something with this woman, or even try to get her to come and meet with you. But anyways, she ends up coming. They meet for lunch or whatever. Her name is Miss Nikki. Megan does say that, look, I understand. She was raised by her grandparents. She understands that for a woman at 17, that she wasn't able to take care of her. Where her resentment is at is where the mom never came back when she got older. Like, oh, I'm on my feet. I got things together. Let me raise my child. That's the thing. Ms. Nikki says, I'm embarrassed by Megan because it's like, you're on your podcast really airing out the family business. And that's the part that she doesn't like. She doesn't like being put in a situation or in a bad light, I think. It's like Megan has become this public figure / celebrity and has said, F the family. Look, if I ever get into another position, because I don't know how the family operates, and it seems like you guys want her to be this, don't forget where you come from. Well, she came from her grandparents because you didn't raise her. And it's just like there's this entitlement role because you are a parent, that there's this due respect and due showering of stuff when you haven't even been there. Like, it's kind of like a how dare you type of moment from Miss Nikki. Why would you try to ask anything because I decided to do something better for me? And now you want a piece of a pie that you don't really need or have even earned the right for me to have to give you any of that. So Megan's like, well, she's crying at this point. Megan is. But she's like, what do you think we can come up with a solution for us to be in a better place? And the mom was like, we need to respect each other. And then she said it in different words, but I'm paraphrasing. When all of this fame goes away, you're going to be in the dark. And I don't know what's going to happen with you when you try to come back over here. I said, oh. Megan got up. I'm glad she did. There seems to be some type of jealousy about the status of Megan, and they're trying to put this whole guilt. I hate that type of family guilt that people try to give because you are in a better position. Megan did the best thing. I'm rooting for Megan and love it from a distance if you want to do that. All right, so we move on to Mackenzie. Mackenzie's having a birthday party for her daughter, Chanel. Lindsay, Milan, and Ashley are invited. They do all the things that they're supposed to do. Dwayne is not able to come, even though co-parenting is doing good. They don't do everything together. So we see family and friends there also. So the ladies sit down and they talk. I forgot who brought up Danielle, but anyways, probably Milan or whatever. Milan just feels like, I never wanted to pick a side, but because of this whole situation, you putting your hands on me, Danielle, I just lost respect for you, and now you've pushed me to a side. So are you just going to... She says that these ladies were giving off mean girl vibes. Now it's vibes, and not just straight up mean girls. I'm just going by what you said, and I'm documenting what you are saying, Milan, because now it's just vibes. So that means it's not, because it gets into that territory of ish. So what is it? Are they mean girls or? But then at the same time, you didn't have enough decency to say, hey, don't do that. I don't think that this is right. You could have handled this a lot better, Danielle or Morgan, but y'all didn't. But Nikki is the one that started everything. So anyways, Mackenzie's bothered, like, I don't want to hear about Danny DeVille. Why are they always bringing her up? I think Lindsay brought her up first for whatever reason. Because they started talking about the fight or whatever. But anyways, we're done with them. Megan, Danielle, and Morgan, they do meet up. I think Megan's more on Danielle and Morgan's side, even though she does kind of just play around the sea with everyone. It looks that way. Never mind. So, of course, Danielle talks about the whole meetup with Mackenzie. Like, the timeline is still off. She still believes that Mackenzie was stepping with Rashard while they were still together. Oh, that was the thing that Mackenzie was really like, don't put me as the side chick, because I was never the side chick. I don't know if she was a side chick or if she knew that she was a side chick. That's the thing. And because she's lying about certain things, you could have been a side chick. Rashard had been telling to this day, I guess, as far as Danielle saying that Rashard says that he's not in a relationship. So he's not acknowledging Mackenzie. So what pissed her off is insinuating that he's been around their children. But that's not something that, at least at this point, that she's ready to have around. Y'all in a fresh relationship. Why are you around the children? And that's the thing that is so weird about Mackenzie. Like, you are in the same situation as Danielle. They bring up Milan. They talk about the fight between her and Milan. There's a lot of shady stuff going on, but I didn't really copy it down. I just laughed and moved on from it. Danielle says, Milan saying that she's been put in the middle. And Morgan was like, no, you put yourself in the middle. And Morgan feels like that she's a flip-flopper and all this good stuff, Morgan asked Megan, when's the next get-together of all the ladies? Megan says that she heard about this pajama party. And Morgan says, well, I guess we need to crash this party. Well, why are you crashing a party? Because I thought you and Nikki were friends. How come you're not invited? That's interesting. That is interesting. So that was a little off. It seemed a little production produced, like we're going to crash this party to seem like the bad girls or whatever. But whatever. Mackenzie, I am concerned about you still, because you're not giving off the right vibes. And I think you just would rather this go away so you can live in your fairy tale world with Rashard. But obviously that there's more to what happened and how you even hooked up with your old friend, Rashard. And I don't think that Danielle is wrong about certain aspects. Danielle, cut this nigga off. Please. And just let Mackenzie live in her world. I'm sure that she's going to have to put up with the same stuff that you had to put up with. Anyways, I do appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please give me your thoughts. Like this video, share it, and again, if you're not a subscriber, go on and subscribe. Until the next video, peace.